Reef Bros here. We're back with another tank update. My tank's been getting all the love and attention lately, so it's time to share a little bit of it. And let's take a look at what's been going on with Douglas's tank. We're back, baby, and we're taking another look at Douglas's tank. It's been a while. Like I said, we've been mainly focusing on my tank, giving a bunch of updates with all the things happening. But let's see what's been going on with Douglas's tank. The fish have been getting bigger, the corals have been growing, we've been feeding it, doing some water changes. So let's take a look at our progress.
One of the biggest things I want to highlight is just how big the fish have gotten. I didn't realize how big Polly and Snooky have gotten until I really had that comparison of how small my new fish are. And then even then, Tony 2.0, he's gotten huge. I don't know where all that fish came from, but he was a tiny little guy and he's still hiding behind the rock here, but you'll see when he comes out for the food, he's just looking big. It's really neat to see how the fish have become conditioned to when the flow cuts out. That means we're about to feed them, because you can see here, you can see the feather duster, it stops waving. I drop in the food, but before that they're already at the surface starting to nip and get ready. But this is probably why Tony 2 is getting so big. You see how many pellets he just ate there? He just got half of them out of all the ones I just dropped right in. Let's look at some of the other growth going on in the tank. Unfortunately, it hasn't all been good. We got a lot of algae popping up. It can use some TLC, but we'll have to do that another time. Now let's jump to my favorite scene in the tank. I love this part right here. I know I'm sure I'm a little biased because I put it together in Douglas's tank, but I love the feather duster with this little island of GSP. I can't wait for it to grow out, but it's taken a lot longer than I'd like. Something keeps picking at the polyps of GSP. You saw when the frag was getting really beaten up. It's still picking at parts of it, but it's slowly winning and growing a little faster. Unfortunately, not everything's growing a little faster. Both these lovely green torches that we used to have, unfortunately, are no longer with us. They just either bleached and died. We're not too sure what happened. They just weren't liking something with the tank. We've been testing and really trying to figure out what caused them to die, but unfortunately, we couldn't solve it in time, and we do not have these ones anymore. But that's it for sob stories. You remember our Rick Coral, whatever the Rick, the thing that looks like a mushroom with a bunch of little bubbles on it? That guy, it decided it didn't like that spot it was in the tank, and just one day it just yeeted itself off the plug and the whole coral just bailed out, I guess. Maybe it was the flow, and we couldn't find it in the tank, and then all of a sudden we found it on a rock where it actually has settled down and started to grow again. It's a lot weaker than it used to be, but it is still growing. Stay tuned to see if it fully bounces back. You know, we got some little bubbles, we got some big bubbles looking real puffed up and reaching up right now. Every once in a while the conch pushes it and it twists to where the flow really just hits it from the side and blows it up. So I gotta twist that back again, but it looks hungry, so you know what it is? It's coral feeding time. When you look from above, you can really see some of the feeder tentacles spraying out the sides there. And then once we come in here with the mysis shrimp and hit with a pop pow, it'll start slowly contracting and bringing them in, because it'll move the mysis shrimp into its mouth and it'll eat the shrimp. It takes a little bit, but it'll slowly just keep moving them in, and then next thing you know, you see its huge mouth just sitting there open as it just keeps bringing the shrimp in. It's just super neat to see this, especially when you have your lovely other fish jumping in front of the camera and blocking the view. We'll jump forward a little bit, and wow, look at that. It looks almost like it has a giant hole in the middle, because that's where it's just bringing in all the food. It's just this big spot of a shrimp buffet now in its mouth. The Duncan Coral is also one of the other awesome ones to feed. This was the guy that we had sitting in the back, then he was sitting in the front, now he's sitting in the front in the sand, because we've had some issues where he got knocked off and fell onto the hammer. It was this big drama. But now he's here in the front, so I'm going to start drifting in some shrimp, just having him fall down on it, and then I'll just quickly just grab him, just bring him right into its mouth. And again, since this is a different type of coral, there's a lot of other heads there, so they all start just contracting in and just eating all the shrimp. Last but not least, this guy might be tied for my favorite coral to feed. is the acan. We fed it before. It's just really cool. It just slowly brings in, you can see it just grabs that mysis shrimp and just slowly just pulls it into its mouth, and then you'll watch the outside just puff up from all the new food that it has. Until Douglas got these coral, I didn't know you actually ever fed coral. I always thought it was just the light that they were like a plant and just normal photosynthesis. Never knew they would just devour these shrimp and just puff up and just move so much. It's really cool to watch. And you already know we can't skip giving the Hairy Snail with a full head of hair a shout out. We're going to call him the Hairy Snail. He's got to go into the main tank so we can at least let Benny the Blenny try to eat some of that off him, because you don't even see the snail in here. You can see like amphipods and stuff crawling around and all the hair algae. It's more hair algae than snail. That's crazy. Let us know what coral was your favorite to watch eat. There's a couple more that we want to start trying to feed more and we can get a better picture of them, such as doing some more with the frog spawn and hammer, especially now that they've grown out and have some more heads, and even the torch. So tune in and we'll show you guys more.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I need money for fish.